Hey folks, and welcome to Both Sides of Par. This is the show all about golf from both ends of the handicap spectrum. I'm Colin, I'm the high handicapper, joined by Ross, the low handicapper. How are you getting on, Ross?
Yeah, very well, Colin. What about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I'm fresh off a few rounds actually, so yeah, I've actually managed to get out pretty regularly recently, so it's quite nice. I think you said you were out just as a couple of days ago too, is that right?
Yeah, I played a competition last week, but I'm more interested in your adventures. It sounds like you've got some great courses up your sleeve there.
Yeah, two separate courses actually. Maybe we should spread them out. We don't need to talk about both today, but yeah, I played Cullen a couple of weeks ago, and I was at Western Gailes yesterday. So
Brilliant.
yeah, a couple of good courses actually. Western Gailes obviously pretty well known and like well up the top courses in the country. Cullen a bit less so, a bit less known, but really fun and kind of interesting itself. So yeah, happy to dig into either if you want to.
Absolutely.
Where was it you were playing?
Just at my home club.
Yeah.
Yeah, just at Wokefield. Yeah, played a competition last week, so a couple of things to learn from that.
Yeah. Let's dig into it. Let's do a bit so you're going for the Open qualifier. You said you were doing some practice to lead up to that, weren't you? What was your so how are you treating this in terms of your practice leading up to such a big round?
Yeah, I'm trying not to go too crazy. I mean, I don't have a huge amount of time. I've got some travel to do and things, so got a couple of weeks. I guess it's just trying not to treat it anything different to how I'm playing anyway, because if you make it too big, it just becomes something in your head, and I can be really guilty of that. So I'd say the thing is that the last couple of weeks I haven't been hitting the ball very well at all, and I was trying to think back to when I was hitting the ball the best most recently, or at least in the last year, and it's when I was doing a lot more practice, of course, but working a bit on speed. So started this week starting to get back into a bit of that. Not going too crazy with it because you want to build it up, but I definitely found by working on a bit of speed and then really focusing on hitting a fade versus I'd started trying to hit a draw with the 3-wood and 5-wood. I think it was just giving me mixed messages when I was hitting every other club, so just went back to really committing on hitting a fade and hitting it hard, and that's definitely helped. The signs are good, so I did couple of sessions just basically warming up as well as I could and then smashing it as hard as I could and then swinging normally. So I've found that that's made a nice difference on the ball striking already, and I can see the ball coming out a little bit left and having a bit of cut on it, which is fine. So just play one way, forget all this trying to be fancy and hitting different shots with 3-wood and 5-wood, because it really, I wouldn't say it messed me up totally, but it cost me at the weekend. I hit a 5-wood in the water at one of the par fives, and I say it cost me. I ended up making an outrageous par.
Yeah, really?
But still, it's not great standing in that tee, looking at this big body of water and thinking my ball is certain to go in there.
So that was because you were trying to shape it in some way, was it? Or was it just...
Yeah, I'd got into looking at hitting a draw with the 3-wood and 5-wood for reasons best known to myself, and yeah, it's just messed me up a little bit because I'm then, what's the swing I'm trying to do? Whereas if I just commit to hitting a fade all the time, if it bleeds a little bit extra to the right, that's fine. I just need to aim a little bit further left. So yeah, just worked on that, and it makes it more consistent for driver as well. Driver, I definitely try to hit fade all the time, and then my irons as well. So yeah.
Nice.
A much smarter play.
Yeah, yesterday with Western Gailes, it was the Gales was the operative part. It was just so windy. It was we woke up in the morning and there was like chairs blown over in my friend's back garden that I was staying over with to head over to the course. And
oh dear,
this doesn't bode too well. Turned up to the course. And yeah, there was like, it's a really nice classic. Have you been there, Ross? Have you been to Western Gailes?
Never been. No, I've played Glasgow Gales, but never Western Gales. I've heard amazing stories about it.
It's a really nice classic kind of links course right on the coast. Just that view of, you can kind of look out over a really good links, and it's the golden long grass just kind of waving. It looks almost like a wheat field with like fairways cut into it from a distance. So
just waiting for anyone's awkward and poor drives.
Well, yes. And that was me. So I don't know. I don't know if this applies to everyone. Actually, Bruce, my brother, said this the other day too. So maybe it's not just me, but he says when he plays in the really strong wind, he just finds it messes up his timing. And that felt the same with me. I just ended up, I was just hanging it all over the place, like a terrible slice. Someone I'd got rid of recently, and it just completely came back. And I lost about 13, 14 balls. It was ridiculous. It just kept hitting it so far right. But it was always with the wind. So when I was going down, you've got both directions. So when we're playing, the wind was blowing it onto the fairway against my slice. It was holding it up for me, so it was keeping it nice and straight. And every time I was playing back the other way, it was just completely carrying it right over the railway kind of thing. So it was just nasty. But I'd got rid of that. It's so frustrating because I've been hitting my driver actually pretty nicely the last couple of weeks, pretty straight for a change. But just that just seemed to bring it back. I think it was partly psychological because it was on the holes that I knew the wind was going to carry it that way anyway. And it definitely wasn't just the wind. It was definitely me giving it a bit of a slice and the wind just like giving it a good, a good carry beyond that. So I don't know, a bit psychological and a bit kind of the wind just messing me up. But I think so distracting, isn't it, when it's that windy?
Yeah, I think any golfer, when the wind's coming off your back, it feels a little bit tough. It feels like you're just going to lose a shot. Whereas, as you say, when it's coming into your face, when you're standing over the ball, so from the right if you're right-handed and for the left if you're left-handed, then feels like it's going to help you. Even if you hit a cut or a draw, it doesn't really matter. It just always feels better. So certainly something I've had to battle, and I'm sure every other golfer does as well.
Yeah. Bruce said he always has to go to the range for like an hour after a windy round to try and kind of sort out his swing. So I thought if somebody at you and his level has to do that still, then I've got an excuse for playing terrible. So
I think it is just... For me, certainly, it feels like the body gets ahead too much because you're trying to keep the ball down, and then your focus becomes on that rather than just swinging.
Really?
And the weird thing is, if it's windy and rainy, I tend to play okay. It's when it's really, really windy off the left, I find it quite hard. When it's raining, there's nothing in my brain. I'm just wanting to hit the shot and go on with it. That's probably the thing. You just want to hit it as fast as you can and get out of there.
Just get.
But when it's just blowing a hoolie, you're like, it's all you're thinking about is this wind on your back.
Yeah, interesting. I've not played a proper rainy round actually in the last little while. I've not had to do that yet, but no, it was great fun. I love the course. It's so nice. It's just so well kept. Like, it's just the beautiful fairways, so undulating right along the dunes. Greens are perfect. Do you know something, as I'm playing more and more courses again, I feel like one of the biggest indicators I've found of like a really well kept course is the tees. Like, you can have really nice fairways and good greens. People always tend to try and look after the greens. Obviously you do get still a variation in quality, but it's when you turn up and all the tees are, there's 2 or 3 tees all nicely sculpted out and they're all just like near perfect in terms of condition and surface. That seems to be kind of a place where some of the less careful courses, let it go a little bit.
Definitely.
And Western Gailes was just beautiful that way. It's the courses where as well, like where it's in amongst the dunes, in amongst the waving golden grass, all of that, and they just sculpt these little pathways between it all. It just feels so beautiful walking around in them. You've got these little narrow pathways from the tee to the fairway, or from one green to the next tee, or just between different obstacles, stuff like that. There's this little kind of effect you get where it just feels like such an interesting little place to play. So it's a great experience.
And I think back in the day, the course designers, it was all about natural sculpting, and they didn't have machines or anything. So I think there would be situations where men would effectively move earth by hand, but typically the designer would be trying to use the dunes as much as possible and that natural walkway and things. So I find that incredible, having that vision. And these courses have lasted for over 100 years in many cases. It's phenomenal, isn't it?
Aye, that one was, they had their established all over the place. Like, it was established 1880 something, maybe 1890 something. So 130 years. Yeah, been around a while.
And then on the tee side, I was going to say, are the tees almost like greens? Are they that good?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And it's one of those courses that has like basically a tee box for every colour as well. So you've got like three
Right.
or four tees for everyone. So you're always finding your right one. It looks quite impressive when you're looking up at the tees as well, because they're in different places. It actually makes it a really, really quite a different course. Just about every single tee, because there's, the blue, the red and the blue are like quite far forward and give you a different angle. Then you go back to the yellow, and it's actually like it's maybe a bit higher up. It's a bit off to the left, and then the white, and I think there was potentially another colour too. I can't remember actually, but like quite a bit further back, obviously, but also a different angle as well into the
Yeah.
fairway. So yeah, just like different course altogether. Yeah. So even if you're not playing the medal, or you want to play the edge just for a different layout of the course, we talked about that a bit in the past, didn't we? Like, just it makes it a different game, something more interesting.
Yeah, you think it's going to be easier off the forward tees, but actually it potentially brings more trouble into play. That's the irony.
Aye, totally. But yeah, great experience. Loved it. So yeah, I'd love to go back. I'm lucky enough to have a friend who's a member there, so I can play every now and again. So I need to get down on a nicer day.
Absolutely.
All right, what do you want to jump into next, Ross? What you got? What topics you got for today?
I've got a round, so I played competition at the last weekend, and yeah, as I mentioned, I just didn't really hit the ball very well at all, so it was a bit of a battle, and lost a couple of tee shots. Literally, I lost one on 9, made double bogey. Well, actually, ended up picking up. It was a Stableford, so just couldn't get the ball, didn't go back to the tee, just lost it completely with 3-wood, and it was that thing that was in my head. I was between a draw and a fade and just didn't hit either. Just hit a big block and lost the ball. But the thing that was nice was I just tried to keep going, so I ended up at one point I was effectively 4 over par, or if you look at how the Stableford was going, I was sort of 4 behind. I just kept going and managed to make a couple of birdies at the end and get the score back a little bit, which was good. So
nice. Yeah,
it was almost a counting score, and I made the par one of the pars of my life. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, so you lost it and still made par.
Yeah, 14. So 14's from the tees we played is 560 yards, and I was standing there with 3-wood, and of course I'd lost a ball in the 9th, which is another tough hole, with water. Funnily enough, I'd lost it in the right, and I'm standing there, and I just yanged it totally miles left to a hook, which was not good, so it didn't make it anywhere near the carry over the water. In fact, it was probably right in the middle of it. I couldn't see it land. So I went down, dropped the ball, hit a 5-wood, wasn't really sure where it went. The funny thing is that my playing partner played my ball because I was away looking for the other guy's ball. That was really hilarious.
Yeah.
So with that thing in between, so then I had like 150 yards to the front of the green, hit 9-iron, downwind, didn't make the green, and I'm walking up, I'm like, it'd be quite funny if I chipped in for a par here. This would be the par of my life. Got up there, little 9-iron again, pitch and run.
Yeah.
Just got it on the green, running reasonably fast. It probably going 4 feet by, smacked the pin right in the middle. Yeah. Easy par.
Yeah.
Gave a little wave to the guys behind and just kept going.
Nice. Keep it moving.
Yeah, but it was just nice to be able to, I guess, not get too up. I didn't get upset or anything. I just kept going, and we've talked about it a bit. Connie'd up, I birdied the last hole, got it in play, got it in the right place, hit a wedge to like 6 feet and hold it, and yeah, it was just really nice, and just trying to keep that momentum going during a round rather than letting it go.
Yeah.
Which I've been really guilty of in the past.
Yeah.
I think that's been probably a lot of my downfall in most recent years, is getting to maybe 3 or 4, 5, 6 over par and trying to chase it.
Yeah.
Like really, I need to make 4 birdies rather than just keeping playing. And I've found that when I just actually keep playing, there's a chance that I can get something back, and you just need to let it happen. The sort of Scott Fawcett mentality, right? Don't change what you're doing for all the holes coming in. Maybe one shot or a tee shot here or there, you can go for something, but make sure it's the right one. So yeah, that's been really, really helpful. And it was nice. It's not a score that counts to my handicap, but it was only, I think it was like plus 3.5 or something for the score against the course rating.
Yeah.
So it's a close buffer one. I'm not going to, if that ends up counting, it's not going to take my handicap up a huge amount. So
make too much difference.
It's nice to just have that in the bank as well.
Yeah, totally. Nice. That's good. Yeah, okay. Yeah, my I didn't count Western Gailes yesterday. I thought I'm not gonna register this one. But the previous one actually, I did have one round at my home course, and I dropped point 0.6, I think it was, down to
Oh, brilliant.
24.1 again. So yeah,
That's
I can't,
awesome.
can't remember if I said I was down below 24. I think I mentioned that in the pod. So I'd broken 24. But I played that round at Golspie. I think I mentioned that. That was a really windy day. Scored like really
Yeah.
badly. Went back up a full stroke. So I was
Oh,
up to
wow.
24.7. And so this has brought me back down to 24.1 from that round. So yeah, I'm hovering around that 24 at the moment. But I think that was genuinely just like, it was a horrible day. It was so windy that day. It was a competition, an open I entered, so I had to mark it. But I just played awful as well. So
And what was Golspie like?
Golspie was lovely, actually. Golspie was similar. It wasn't quite the same on par with like Western Gailes, but a similar type of course, like really nice links right out on the coast. Um, Really interesting as well, actually. Some fun holes, and the whole. You hadn't played there yet, have you? You're going up there
No.
somewhere later this year.
Yeah.
It's got. So for anyone that doesn't know out there, it's north of Inverness, so like almost as far north in Scotland as you can get. You've only got about another half hour to an hour, like to the very top of the country. So quite brutal in terms of weather conditions sometimes, you might say. Um, and it's very exposed, but a lovely little course, like really interesting layout, really great holes, right? Really well looked after. The greens were just like glass. I was like, the
Right.
ball was just starting to move. You know, it must have been on the verge of like having to cancel it because the ball was just not
So,
like.
yeah.
At one point, we were playing a par three, lovely little par three actually, from the beach. Like you were basically playing from a tee that was almost like sitting up over the beach and playing away from the beach towards the forest up on the other side. But the wind was straight offshore, like in our faces. And it was only about 150 yards, 160 yards. So probably normally like a 9 or an 8 iron. And the people I was playing with were playing a driver
Wow.
off that.
Seriously, driver?
And one of them still just like they hit it nice and low. The guy was quite good. He was like a single figure handicapper. Hit it low into the wind, but the wind still whipped it up. Just made it like ballooned up into the air and flew only about 75 yards. It
Wow.
like basically took a loop, like it went forward and up and then almost came back a bit by the end. I just stood up and I got out my 7 iron and just tried to like properly just skate it along the ground. And I went further than him. I went about 110, 120 yards. Like I was a bit short of the green, but just like a grass hugger, just like basically rolling along the whole way. So it was crazy, so hard to play in. So I don't think I got a fair impression of the course. But from what I saw, I'd love to go back on a calm day and play it. There's the interesting kind of two sides to it in that it's maybe 12, 13 holes, all proper full links. But there's actually 3 or 4 holes that go off into the forest and become
Oh,
almost,
nice.
almost a bit parklandy. So you get in
Brilliant.
amongst the trees at one point. So there's a bit of variety there, and there's a lovely little par three actually in amongst that parkland bit where you're playing amongst the trees down onto a green with a wee bit of water around it too. And yeah, so it's a lovely course. Going to go back someday on a nicer day.
I think courses like that are really good as well. As you say, you're getting that mix of the links and the parkland together.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
really unique.
yeah,
There's not a lot
definitely.
of courses like that, but it's nice when you do get that chance.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, cool. I've got a question for you, Ross. A wee
Go for
topic
it.
to dig into. I want to know something about. I want to know a wee bit more about this, and I can share something that happened to me a couple of weeks ago as well at Cullen, based on it. So I've been trying to practice my short game a lot more, improve the short game, and I'm trying to. I've always been pretty decent actually at chip, sand wedge, pitch and wedge. I think based on just playing a lot when I was a kid, I've kind of come back to that reasonably well. But the thing I'm never that confident in is a wee chip and run, like actually making it a bit safer. And with my pitching, I still do skin it and like skate it across the green sometimes. So I know that a chip and run is a safer option sometimes. But how do you choose? Like, what do you think about when you're thinking, you're 20, 30 yards off the green or further, or there's nothing in between you and the green? How do you choose between a chip, like a proper pitch, a chip, a flop shot, that kind of thing, versus actually chip and run it on? Like, what goes through your mind when you're thinking about that?
First thing's the lie. Generally, I'll look at the
Okay.
lie and
Yep.
taking it just to the side of the green. Like if I've got the one I hold at the weekend, I hit a 9 iron So the green was probably 3 yards from my ball. And my only thought is how quickly can I get on the green, get it running? So that is the pitch and run concept. But I also had another shot later in the round where I'd missed the green by a couple of yards, and it was probably the same type of shot, but the lie wasn't great. So I just looked at it and I'm like, no way am I hitting even an iron off that. I just got my 5-wood out, bunted it down the little slope out to a couple of feet, put the putt away. So I generally look at the lie first, just to see what's my confidence level going to be. So like some people have got the technique and the capability, and I can hit those shots, but when you're playing a competition especially, it's not that I'm trying to be negative, I'm trying to be realistic about what I can do in that moment, especially if I'm at the end of a round and maybe my thoughts are elsewhere, or I'm getting a little bit nervous about the score and that kind of thing. I would try to go to the safer shot as much as I can. Not all the time, sometimes you just got to go for it, but I definitely start with the lie and see how it's looking and then work from there. And the other thing I'd say is just trying to get it onto the green, trying to avoid, if you can, bouncing on fringes and stuff. The bounces are never usually that consistent necessarily, so you'd always just look at the lie first and then what's the distance. If it's 30 yards, most times I'm probably going to be 15 yards to get to green. There's 15 yards to roll out. I'm probably hitting a 54 degree. Might be a 48 to keep it lower on a day like you're saying where it's windy, and you can hit it a little bit harder into the wind or something. So what about yourself?
No, I've not thought about it too much that way actually, but you're right, the lie, so if it's a really thin lie like you often get in a links course, for example, or I might take a safer option, it's more likely to skin it that way, isn't it? And if it's a really nice kind of lush bit of grass, then I'm an easier pitch, for sure. I think there's a bit of the distance part as well, like in terms of, how I think I've thought about it now. I think about it the way you're talking about it, as in if the pin's really close to the edge on my side, so there's not much green, then I'm going to go higher and hit the sand wedge instead and just try and land it and stop it kind of thing. But I'm just not that reliable at doing that. Like I can generally get the distance well, but I can't spin it reliably or anything like that. So it's more about like accounting for the run out as well. Whereas a chip and run, I think I've actually started, so something I've thought about, and this kind of affected my thinking quite a lot about it, was at Cullen. So I was about, what was I, maybe 70 or 80 yards. So I was quite far off the green, and it was a really thin lie. So it was quite a hard bit of ground. And I was like, I'm not confident in pitching this. It's 80 yards, a nasty lie. There's nothing in between me and the green. So I might actually just try it. I wasn't scoring a card anyway. I'm just going to try a pitch and run here just to see what it's like. And so I got my 7-iron out, and I just did a couple of wee practice swings, felt like it contacted the ground nicely, and I just went for it and hit it, and it just hit, maybe 20-30 yards of carry, like not high, maybe a foot in the air, and just rolled straight towards the green, and it went in, and I got an eagle.
Brilliant.
On the 18th. So my
Picked
first
the right shot then.
Exactly. So it was a great drive. It was like 270 or 80 yards drive down this like nice hard packed fairway, 70 yards to go, something like that, and chipped it in for an eagle. And it was like, I have never done that in my life. That is amazing.
That's awesome.
And I was like, these are quite reliable, aren't they? These chip and runs, because it would have been a 50-50 chance a pitch there would have either skinned it because of the lie or gone left and right, like pretty far, because it's a fairly long shot, that 80 yards with a pitching wedge. And I find it harder to judge distance as well. I've not got like the clock system set up or anything like that, so that I know really reliably how to land my pitching wedge that far. But with a 7-iron just dunting it along the ground, I feel like I can judge it better. So yeah, that just started me thinking about it a lot more, and I'm pulling it out a lot more since then, actually, just to try that. And it's always been pretty safe. Yeah.
If you can hit a long pitch and run, that's a great advantage, especially when you're playing the wind. But also, you're getting to play a good amount of links golf as well, so you're getting to hit those types of shots. And links golf tends to allow you, in a lot of cases, to run the ball in. Mm-hmm. And there's slopes that will support you doing that as well. That's a lot of the ways the courses have been designed as well. So it's a really good option. And I think as well, just circling back to like the chip shot you're saying, is it a flop shot? I remember listening to Claude Harmon, like I listen to his podcast a lot, and he's got really good practical advice. And the thing he talks about is making sure you don't have two chips to get it in the green. So,
Yeah.
like, you can try and hit the hero shot, but actually make sure you get it on the green, even if it's giving yourself 15, 20 feet.
Yeah.
It's better that than having to chip again, then you've got 15 or 20 feet again. So
Yeah.
it's something worth thinking about. And
Do the reliable thing. Yeah.
yeah, and Scott Fawcett would tell you that too, right? It's all about just taking the averages and trying to reduce one shot at a time. And if you give yourself a chance from 15 feet, that's a much better chance than trying to chip it in with the second one, or if you blaze it over the green trying to do something else. So yeah. I think all of us want to hit the hero shot, but actually just playing consistent golf is consistently smart shots is going to help you over the long term as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Okay, I'll stick to that. I'll keep going. Keep trying with it. I'm going to keep practicing. You obviously got situations where you have to fly it, don't you? Where you've got a bunker between you and the green, or a bit of water, or something or other. So still need to practice that stuff. But I'm going to definitely do a bit more work.
Do you change?
Sorry,
do you change the clubs a lot as well when you're chipping and pitching?
No, do you know? I'm always just like if I really need to, if I'm trying to stop it fast, I'm using my sand wedge. I don't have a lob wedge yet, so I'm just pitching wedge and sand wedge. I was thinking about getting one. I tried out my friend's Vokey actually on Cullen, and it felt really nice actually. It was a nice wee, just felt like good contact with that. So I might play around with one of them at the range and see about getting one. But yeah, just sand wedge for the high stuff, pitching wedge for the normal pitches onto the green, and I usually just pull out my 7-iron for the pitch and run. Is that how you think about it, or do you move around?
Yeah, really similar. Yeah. Pitch and runs, I changed the club. I'm going to say a huge amount, but I definitely change it. I'll hit a pitch and run sometimes, as I mentioned, with a 9-iron, a wedge. Yeah. Sometimes a 54 will just shut the face down a little bit.
Yeah.
7-iron, and I love my 5-wood. I love a little bump and run with a 5-wood. You can't beat that.
Yes, I need to try it with the hybrid a little bit more. I've got the ping, a hybrid. It's supposedly quite good at it. I tried it a couple of times, but I found it just a bit unpredictable because it's got so much speed off the face. Like even with a wee chip and run, I found it just wanged off there. So, but I'm sure I could hone that in if I just did a bit of practice with it.
Yeah, if you just treat it like a putt, basically, then it's very, very similar. It comes off at a kind of similar speed if you just do almost like a putt and stroke.
Really?
It's really close, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll give that a go. All right. I had a bit of data to share here, Ross. Do you fancy talking through this?
Absolutely, go for it.
I found this quite interesting. So I'll credit MyGolfSpy for this. Title is You're Playing Par 3s Wrong. Here's what the data says to do instead. And I found this really interesting, actually. Do you know that across the handicap spectrum, we kind of expect par 3s to be easy holes. They're the short holes. We're going to get a par here, go in for the par 3, you get your 3, maybe even a 2 actually, get your birdie here. But the data actually shows that even at a scratch handicap and right up to the high, obviously, like nobody is averaging par on a par 3. Does that surprise you, or would you have expected that?
Not really. I mean, because you've effectively only got one shot to make it. Whereas a par 4, you hit a bad drive, you've got a recovery shot. Par 5 as well.
Yeah, you can make it back up. Yeah, totally. Well, so the thing is, the thing that they were digging out here in terms of the data was that there's something around playing par 3s a lot shorter than you expect, because the data shows that this is coming from Arccos, I think. Those Arccos little things you stick in the back of the clubs and they track data. So they shared this with them, which is really cool, actually. The most likely outcome of a par 3 is that you go short. So, well, not most likely. At scratch and better, you're 60% likely to actually hit the green. So 60%, that's a pretty decent, pretty decent rate there. 20% likely to go short, and only 7% likely to fly the green, to go over the back. Whereas you go up to 1 to 9, suddenly it's up to 26% to go short, 50% to hit the green, and only 8% to go over the back. And you go up to 10 to 19, 35% go short, and 20 to 28, 42% go short, and only 35% hit the green. So throughout that whole thing, it's very, very rare for people to actually fly the green, people to go over. So there was something around, like they're digging out this data and saying, try and actually go a bit further, because actually the most of the data shows that people account for a par 3. You look at the yardage and you think, right, it's 140 yards. Normally that's my 9-iron. But the thing is, your 9 iron, 140 yards is probably most likely like your good your 9 iron. You know, it's when you strike it really well, you hit a really nice shot, and you know, most likely you're probably not going to hit quite as sweet. You know, how likely is it you get that every single time? So most likely it's actually better to go up a club or hit it, you know, account for going an extra 5 or 10 yards and maybe go towards the back of the green at the very least, as opposed to the data showing that often people are coming off the front of the green instead. So it's something around like people with a par three, particularly, always planning for their best shots, always planning for their ideal shot, as opposed to the probably far more likely slightly mishit, even if it's on target. Does that resonate at all?
Absolutely resonates. I mean, I do it myself plenty of times, so I think part of it, ironically, with par three is you feel like you don't want to go over the back. A lot of times you think, "Oh, I'm gonna hit the perfect shot. I've got this one opportunity to get one close," and that's the sort of mindset. Whereas, to your point, if you just make sure you're taking the right club and getting it there, it doesn't surprise me that people finish short. I think that's something many of us do. And if you reflect back in rounds, how many times do you really go over the back unless it's really hard and bouncy? It's kind of unlikely, actually.
Yeah, for sure. I know, yeah. I mean, I suppose, every now and again you might flush it and go over the back a little bit. And you suppose you have to account for the hole, don't you? Like if there's a hole with someone really nasty over the back, then, but I don't know, more likely actually the nasty stuff's in front, isn't it? Like so many par threes are protected by a bunker in the front or a bit of water or just like some nasty rough or something like that. So,
yeah, I mentioned, I think it was in the last episode we talked about James Braid courses, and honestly, if you play most James Braid courses I've played, the trouble is at the front. It's usually a couple of bunkers, some kind of feature that's putting you off at the front, and actually there's not usually a lot of trouble over the back.
Yeah,
it's true in most of those James Braid courses I've played. So I think we're invariably tuned to try and hit the, as you say, the perfect shot and get it bouncing at the front of the green up to the hole. Whereas if you just get it to the green, like actually get it to the middle, you get a much better chance of being in a good place.
Yeah. Are you aware of your average carry as opposed to your best carry?
Good confession time. My distances are not as, I'm not as, what's the word, disciplined on them as I should be. That's the absolute reality. A lot of times there is I guess a feel component, so like coming to a par, or any shot actually, but especially a par three, and the one that's in my mind at the moment is the 8th hole at my course. So it's 189 par 3, usually plays into the wind, and the green sits at 45 degrees of an angle from the tee. So the trouble, actually, where you don't want to finish is short most times. But ironically, I tend to think just get it over that trouble, because if you do go long, and you can go long, it can take quite a hard bounce because it's on the green and the greens are pretty firm. But if you're playing into the wind, like how often is that going to happen? So I'm normally hitting like a 6 iron in there if it's slightly into the wind. If it's a stronger wind, I'm hitting 5 iron, and then downwind I'll probably hit 7, and a 7 will just carry probably 3 yards onto the green, so it'll carry about 175 and roll out. But yeah, definitely not as on it as I should be with that. And the irony is, you've got like your track man that you can go to, you can do it at the range.
It's easy to do.
I've done a gapping session a few years back, and it's something I need to do again. You can do it in a trackman bay on your own, but I did it with a pro, and I actually wrote down, he did a little printout of all my yardages, all the averages. So it's something I should get again. It's worth doing.
Yeah, I'm guilty of a couple of things here. One of which is I kind of forget the fact that there's difference between carry and full distance. So I'm like, shooting towards a green and thinking, my normal kind of full distance on a 7 iron is maybe 160, 65. Not accounting for the fact that it's actually going to land at like 150, 155 and then roll to that. And therefore I land in the bunker right ahead because I've been trying to hit a green that's like the pin's quite tight to the front or something like that. Yeah, and the other is, oh, what's the other? I had it in my head there, forgotten now. It'll come back to me. But yeah, the distance is, I don't know, it changes as well. Like I found as well, because I've been doing so much kind of practice and changing my swing and trying to improve things. Like my distances are changing quite a bit as well, and it's
Of course they will,
it's
yeah.
not much. Yeah, it's kind of hard to predict in many ways. But
And the thing is, it could be, although you're improving and you are improving, that can be inconsistent as well. I was in a Trackman Bay the other day and I was hitting like 8-iron and pretty consistently, I'd say every shot was going 163 to 167.
yeah,
And the difference I found was I pulled a couple of shots and
Okay.
they would carry 175.
okay, yeah,
So I think there's that thing as well where we're all trying to be perfect, but actually if you pull it a little bit, it's going to go further. And if you cut it a little bit, it's going to go shorter. So going with the averages, as you say, is the thing to do, rather than
Yeah.
thinking, oh, my best shot's going to do this.
totally. One of the bits of advice they had in the article was the other thing. So use your average carry, not your best carry, but also, when you're in a little bit of doubt, or even just any time because of the kind of what the stats show, take one more club and hit it at 80%. Like actually take a
Yeah.
kind of slightly more controlled shot. Do you find that works? Like I've never tried something. I've never really thought about that as a technique.
Yeah, especially when you're coming back to like playing in the wind when you were at Golspie. I think I mentioned a few episodes ago, I'd worked with a coach probably 20 years ago and I was terrible in the wind, honestly. And he got me to just grip down the club, move the ball maybe an inch or two back and swing normally. So very, very relaxed, and it comes out nice and nice and low and goes almost the same distance. So there's
okay.
something there that you think it's an 80% shot, but actually by going down the grip, potentially taking a club extra, yeah, you can hit the ball pretty much the same distance because you keep the ball flight down. So
Yeah.
it's definitely something worth thinking about too.
Interesting. Cool. Yeah, no, I just thought it was quite interesting. I think I've fallen into that trap thinking, oh, here's a nice easy one, a par 3. I'll get it on the green, I'll get it in, and to get a nice par here, something that's not that usual for me. Whereas with the long holes, I'll be more likely to, slice the ball off into the trees or something. I feel like there's more can go wrong, but you're absolutely right. There's more can go right as well, as in there's more to recover as you're going. So it's a funny one.
I mean,
but
there's
yeah.
the par 3s. I don't want to make it sound like we're playing at Sawgrass where I play, but the par 3s they're pretty strong where I play. So the easiest one would be 17, that's 150. Plays on a bit of crosswind, but the green slopes towards you. So there's a good bit of help there, even if you do hit it quite hard. The green's
Yeah.
sloping towards you, so it'll slow the ball down. Second hole is 180. Plays again into a crosswind, and there's a massive bunker that's like a circle in the middle of effectively the middle of the fairway. So
Sure.
generally okay for me. I've only been in it a couple of times when I've had a crap shot, usually. But for people I'm playing with, if they're not hitting the ball, as far, and to your point, not taking enough club, I see so many guys standing that tee, and I can be standing there with a 5-iron, and I had a decent distance, and they're standing there with an iron. I'm like, no way are you getting this over the bunker. So they should be probably at least rescue, probably a 3-wood, potentially driver.
Really.
And I just don't see them doing it, and they're invariably in the bunker. And then the other one I'd say is a really, really tough par 3 is the 12th hole. It's 195 yards for the very back tee, and we play the back tees quite often actually, so the full championship tees. And the water carry on that hole's probably 170. So you're standing there, it's 195, and that's the one that's usually into the wind.
Yeah.
So I'll be hitting 4 or 5-iron. If it's a 5-iron, I'm really trying to smash it low. It's a tough shot. And I'll see guys standing there with an iron or a hybrid, and I'm like, you've got no chance of covering this. No chance. And the crazy thing is, they could play it up, ironically, the par 5 I was just talking about, the 14th. So you've got the water, and it runs to, like, you would say the right edge of the green if you look in terms
Sure.
of line.
Yeah.
And then there's like 70 yards of fairway on the 14th.
Yeah.
So to me, if I was playing that hole and I didn't have the carry, to carry at 170 into the wind is a really good hit for a lot of golfers. I just stand there and hit anything right at that water and chip on.
Yeah.
I see it so often when I'm playing with guys in competitions, and I'm on the tee thinking this is going to take a really good shot to get anywhere close to this green, and they're struggling to get the carry, but they still go at the green. I'm like, just why are you not hitting it down there and taking an 80-yard pitch in? You're probably guaranteeing a 4.
Yeah, totally.
And if you coming back to the Scott Fawcett things on the averages, you're probably gaining strokes on the field, especially around your peers.
Aye,
if you're just getting it in a 4, you're probably picking up half a shot or a shot in some people that day.
The smart shot, eh? The smart shot. Yeah, there's a couple of holes on. There's one hole on my course which is a par 3 technically, but from the medals it's 205 yards. So it's a long par 3, but it's downhill as well. So it drops maybe 20 yards, 30 yards. It's like it's a fair downhill, and there's 2 water hazards in front. So there's 2 burns across it.
Nice.
Maybe one at maybe 120, 30. So you're safe relatively well from that. But the other one is like right before the green, but it kind of diagonally comes towards you. So on the right of it, there's a fair chunk of grass, of fairway-ish, which is, maybe 160 to 200. But if you aim at the green, the water is like right before it. So the smart shot is always to hit it just right and pitch on. But I just haven't figured it out yet at all. I generally aim to the right, but it's the drop is also just really quite deceiving as well, because I can hit I can hit a 6-iron and still carry that, like go over 200 yards, and there's no way my 6-iron goes that far. So it's like it's a lot further than you think. So I've got down to actually trying to hit a 7-iron onto this this bit of fairway to the right of the green and pitch on, and that's kind of how I'm attacking it just now. But yeah, it's definitely a strategic one rather than going for the green. Even though I think I could reach the green, I could reach it with my 6 or my 5, but it's just not worth it.
But the thing is, if you take 4 there every single time, again, versus your handicap and versus the people you're playing with in the competitions broadly, you're probably picking up strokes.
Aye, for sure. But I've taken many a 6 there because I've aimed at the green and either been in the water or off to the trees to the left or the right or whatever. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. No, that was good. That was good to talk that through anyway. All right. You got the Open to finish this up, Ross?
Got the Open, yeah. So a really great course in Edinburgh, Royal Burgess. I've played it a couple of times. Used to be fortunate enough. I remember at Dalmahoy we'd go there and play team games. Brilliant course. Sunday the 26th of July, £50, handicap limit 32, and there's 3 spots available in the field between 2:15 and 3 o'clock. So fantastic golf course, really lovely setup. It goes through it's a parkland course, but goes through almost like large houses and that kind of thing. It's just a really nice setting, and some brilliant golf holes on it. Really enjoyed that place. So for anybody that's looking for something to do on the 26th of July and the Sunday, they've got £50 and play a fantastic golf course in Edinburgh.
Yeah. Really easy to get to Edinburgh from around the country as well, either by train or at the airport there. So yeah, nice one for a wee trip if anyone fancies a wee Scottish course or someone more local. It's there for you as well.
Absolutely.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Ross. That was good fun. Talked to a few good subjects there. I'm going to go and practice my pitch and runs now. Go out to the practice range and start getting on them.
Absolutely. Get a ladder drill going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, going to go and eye up a wee Vokey as well, though. I think I might. I don't know. I might get a wee 58 or a 60 or something to give me something a bit higher, just to play around with beyond my sand wedge.
And get the hybrid going as well for the bump and runs.
Yeah,
great option.
Yeah. Do you know what? I saw somebody. This doesn't work on every kind of bunker, of course, but I saw somebody hitting out of a bunker with a hybrid the other day. They were like, smacked the hybrid and it just rolled up the face. It just smacked and rolled up the face. It was like obviously the kind of a bunker that was suited to that. It didn't have a lip, so it was like a revetted face, and it just like rolled straight out and off. And I was like, I've not seen that before. Yeah.
No, when I was a junior at Covell Park, in the summer when we used to get really, really dry summers there, a lot of the bunkers didn't have massive lips, and the bunkers would be dead dry. And then of course the pin would. Typically, you hit the ball in the worst place, so if people were tucked close to that pin from the bunker, just get the putter out.
Putt out of the bunker. Nice.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Give that a go too. All right. Cheers, Austin. Thank you out there for listening. Please do give us some feedback. Go along to hello@bothpar.com. We'd love to get an email from you. Let us know what you want us to cover on future episodes. If you've played a great course, give us a course report. I'd love to actually do some listener course reports, actually. So if you've been off to local ones as well, like give us a wee, coverage of what your course is like, or if you're off playing an open or something like that, then write that in. Send it to hello@bothpar.com and we'll feature it on the show in future. Otherwise, have a great week and we'll talk to you then. Cheers.
Cheers, Colin.